In Birbhum district of West Bengal lies the town of Bolpur. Bolpur is better known to the world as Shanti Niketan, or the abode of peace. Shanti Niketan houses the world-famous Vishwa Bharati University. At its core, Vishwa Bharati is an ashram in which the ancient Tapobanic style of learning prevails today. Maharshi Debendranath Tagore, the father of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, started a Brahma Vidyalaya and a library in 1888. In 1901, his son Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore founded the Brahmacharya Ashram in conformity with the example that his father had set. This Brahmacharya Ashram grew into the Patha Bhavan in 1924, where students learn out in the open among the mango trees.
So by being part of this natural ambience, I think Gurudev had in mind that the children will develop some kind of affinity, some kind of love for the nature or the ecology surrounding them. So I think it is basically heritage in the sense that Gurudev imbibed that spirit of Tapoban Shiksha and articulated that in the form of Patha Bhavan in 1924 and that has been continuing even today.
Carrying forward an ancient heritage from the Vedic days, the Upasana Griha was inaugurated in 1891 as a site of Brahma worship. Also known as the Kach Mandir, the prayer hall is distinctive because of the empty space within, signifying the immanence of the all-pervading Brahman. Open to all, regardless of class, caste and creed, the Upasana Griha embodies Gurudev's desire for collectivity and his notion of universal humanism. Gurudev's desire to rise above the artificial segregation of humanity into arbitrary boxes was evident in his endeavor to allow non-Brahmins to act as the Acharya or the conductor of regular prayers in the Upasana Griha. As an ashram, Vishwa Bharati functions as a bulwark against the crushing homogenization effected by modernity, which is why it deserves to be cherished and commemorated as heritage.
At this point of time, the university, Vishwa Bharati, is being projected as the heritage center. And as a result of that, we have identified, in collaboration with Archaeological Survey of India, and also in collaboration with the discussion by the experts, we have identified about 24 buildings which were made about 100 years ago. So this is basically a declaration of heritage center only of the ashram area. And as you know, ASI has made a distinction between core area and the buffer area. And the core area happens to be the ashram and the buffer area happens to be those which are outside the ashram area.
The ashram stands for selfless sacrifice to humanity, in keeping with the Upanishadic principle of Teno Tyakteno Vunjita, which inspired Maharshi Debendranath Tagore to give up his worldly possessions for the subtle and encompassing bliss of a spiritual journey. Vishwa Bharati stems from an Upanishadic base but grows towards a transcultural future, which is encapsulated best by its motto, Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Ekanidam, which means where the whole world meets in a single nest. Vishwa Bharati acknowledges India's obligation to offer to others the hospitality of her best culture and India's right to accept from others their best. As a site for the confluence of Eastern and Western discourses in areas as diverse as academic learning, crafts, the fine arts and language, Vishwa Bharati truly epitomizes another Upanishadic dictum, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family. The Bhakti tradition finds a place in a fresco in Patha Bhavan, painted by one of the doyens of Bengal art school, Nandalal Bose, that depicts the birth of the 15th century saint Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Vishwabharati stands out in terms of this kind of distinction, and it's a rare distinction in the sense that you will not find so many frescoes anywhere in the world. I mean, so far as my knowledge goes, we have got 11 frescoes, and there are some which are bigger, there are some which are smaller. And the fresco, the purpose of fresco is nothing but narration of a story. And Gurudev believed that, if you just tell the students a story from a book, probably the children may not be able to understand the theme or the way the story develops. So Tagore preferred the painting of the narration, and one of the ways of doing things is to develop fresco.
Vishwabharati creatively builds upon the foundational ideals and prescribed conduct that it has inherited from the past, while also ensuring that Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore and his forebears' vision is upheld to the last. In this sense, the heritage that the seat of learning and its ancillary bodies represent is not an homage to an ossified modus vivendi. It is, in fact, an acknowledgement of the continuity of a living and breathing tradition of intellectual, spiritual, and artistic accomplishment. The existence of Shantiniketan and Vishwabharati is revolutionary. It is important to remember that Shantiniketan was envisioned by Maharshi and Gurudev as a social, political, religious, cultural, and pedagogical alternative to existing forms of life in their respective contexts.
Government of India, especially our Chancellor, the Honorable Prime Minister of the country, Sri Narendra Modi ji, our Education Minister, Honorable Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, our Culture Minister, they are all taking personal interest simply because Vishwabharati doesn't belong to Bengal. Vishwabharati doesn't belong to India. It belongs to the globe, because Tagore and Tagore's forefathers, Mahorshi Devendranath Tagore, Prince Dwarkanath Tagore, and all the entire Brahma Samaj clan, they were not in favor of individual happiness. They are in favor of universal humanism. So that's why you'll find there is no distinction in terms of caste, creed, and color, and also the religious differences, which sometimes became critical insofar as Indian history is concerned. It was Tagore who constantly fought against that kind of artificial division.
Shantiniketan has retained its revolutionary character over the decades, and it is a testament to the power of its founding ideals, that it withstands and indeed welcomes creative interpretations of Gurudev's legacy and vision. History is the chronicling of change, and so heritage is never static. Making the campus a heritage site will not freeze it in time. It will instead reaffirm the dynamic, living character of Shantiniketan and Vishwabharati.
Once Vishwabharati becomes part of global heritage, it will not just become the structure which is important. I'm not talking about the structure which was built 100 years ago. I am also insisting at the same time on the philosophy. And the philosophy is that Tena Taktena Bhunjita, Atra Visham Bhavatika Nidam, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. These are three important dictums which we derive from Upanishad, which talk about universal humanism. So I think to the global listeners, and also to those who are listening to this particular program, my message is that by making Vishwabharati heritage, we are actually contributing to global humanity.